How's it going, everybody? If you are a subcontractor or a general contractor or construction business here in Michigan that hires subcontractors, then this video is for you. Today I wanted to talk about one of the most common questions that comes up, and that is, do subcontractors need their own insurance? Thank you for stopping by. My name is Brian. I'm an independent insurance agent based here in the state of Michigan, Metro Detroit specifically, and I work with businesses on their commercial insurance programs, as well as helping families and individuals with their personal insurance, their home, their auto insurance as well. My goal with this channel is to pass on a little bit of educational information to you so that you can make more informed decisions around your insurance, and then overall help answer any questions that you might have. So let's get into it, and before we get too far into the video, I do want to invite you to subscribe to the channel, and if you find this video helpful, useful, anything like that, please feel free to like, share, pass along with anyone else as well. So the short answer is yes. In nearly every situation, subcontractors will need to carry their own insurance. Even if you are a sole proprietor or a one-man operation, there's a good chance that the general contractor that you're working under, or the project owner, developer, whoever it may be, does have specific insurance requirements in their contract that you do need to meet. This could include coverages like general liability, workers' compensation, and commercial auto insurance. And let's break each of these down quickly. General liability is going to be the most common one, and it protects your business if a third party gets injured on a job site, there's property damage, or if your work causes harm or injury to somebody else, or property damage. It is very common for nearly every project that you're working on to require some level of general liability coverage. And the typical starting point is at least $1 million, and most policy limits will start with $1 million per occurrence and a $2 million aggregate limit. Then there's workers' compensation insurance, and this can be a little more situational. If you're a true one-man operation here in Michigan, you might not be legally required to carry workers' comp, but that doesn't mean that the general contractor that you're working under or the project owner won't still require it anyways. So it can be very common that they ask for proof of this coverage in addition to your liability insurance, or at least show that you have an exemption form filed with the state. And with this, it is important to note, if you have any employees here in Michigan, you are legally required to carry workers' comp insurance. And then there's commercial auto insurance. If your business owns a vehicle or you are regularly using one for your work, you're going to need a commercial auto policy. And it is very common for this to be a required coverage in a lot of contracts. And at the same time, let's say your business does not own any vehicles. It can be common to see a hired and non-owned auto insurance coverage requirement instead. And this would provide coverage for your business for liability for any rented vehicles or any vehicles that are personally owned but used for certain work tasks. But as a contractor, if you are hauling trailers, have your business logo wrapped on your truck, you really do need a commercial policy in place. A personal policy will exclude coverage for business use. So very important to make sure that you do have the right coverage in place. And with all this, here is something that can trip people up. And that is, just because your insurance worked for one project does not mean that it'll work for the next one. Requirements can change from one job to another, one project to another, or a client or general contractor will have their own specific coverage requirements or even specific policy endorsements that they need before you can start working. And one of the most common requirement changes could be higher liability coverage limits. If you're ever working on larger projects, there is a good chance that this could be the case. And this is where a commercial umbrella liability policy will come into play. It's a very cost-effective solution to help meet those higher liability coverage limits. And also something important to note as a subcontractor is that just because you are working under, let's say, a general contractor, does not mean that you are covered under their policy. This is almost never the case, because you are running your own business, you're running your own operation, and you do need coverage for your business in place. The exact amount of coverage and types of coverage will again depend on your operation, the size of your business, the type of work you're doing, because let's say a residential drywall installer versus a commercial roofing company. Each of those businesses are going to have different risk profiles and exposures, so it's definitely important to make sure that your business insurance does meet your specific needs. And adding on to that, in some cases, you will need additional coverages besides the ones I just mentioned. Things like inland marine insurance, if you have expensive equipment that you want coverage for. Professional liability can be very useful if you want coverage to help pay for the cost to repair or redo any faulty work. Or depending on the size of your operation, you might also need employment practices liability coverage to avoid any employee-related lawsuits from harassment, discrimination, wrongful termination. The most important thing to know is that there is no true one-size-fits-all answer, and the general rule of thumb is that yes, if you are a subcontractor, you should carry your own insurance. So thank you for watching, and if you are looking for help with your commercial insurance, I would love the opportunity to work with you and see if our team can help. There are a lot of ways to get a hold of me, and they should all be in the description below. Please feel free to text, call, email, fill out a contact form, whatever's easiest. And if you have any other questions about insurance, please feel free to either reach out directly or leave them in the comments below. I would love to help answer those as well. So thank you again.